Manipulation often wears the mask of affection, and the phrase, "I miss you," is its favorite disguise. They said they miss you after all this time, after ignoring you, ghosting you, watching you suffer in silence. Now they drop that little message, just 3 words. I miss you, but hold up. Don't rush. Don't fall into that emotional trap, because just because they miss you doesn't mean you owe them your attention. Missing you doesn't always mean they love you. It could mean they lost control over you, and that's not the same thing. Before we go deep, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. If you've ever been the one who walked away, the one who stayed silent, and now they suddenly want back in, this is your moment. This is where you reclaim your peace and see things clearly. Hey folks, imagine this. You've been locked in a cold room for months. No warmth, no light. You fought to get out. You clawed your way through. You found sunlight again. And just as you start to feel whole, the door creaks open behind you. And there they are, the ones who left you in the dark, whispering, "I miss you." Now here's the twist. They didn't change the room. They just noticed your warmth is gone. That's not growth. That's possession. That's not regret. That's withdrawal. Too many people confuse being missed with being loved, but in reality, what they miss might not be you. It might be the way your attention made them feel alive. They miss being admired. They miss being the center of your world. And when that light goes out, when you stop texting, stop chasing, stop explaining, that's when they panic. Not because they've evolved, but because they can no longer feed off your energy. And here's what dark psychology teaches us. A lot of people don't reach out because they care. They reach out because your silence is getting too loud, because they're wondering if you've really moved on, because they thought you'd be waiting forever, and now that you're not, now they send, "I miss you." Funny, right? Let me be real with you, my friends. That message might feel innocent. It might even spark a little hope. But not all hope is healthy. Sometimes it's just nostalgia in disguise. Sometimes it's just ego. Sometimes it's them needing to feel in control again. And if you're not careful, that one message can rewind all the growth you fought for. So don't let a few words undo all that work. Don't let your heart run back to what your mind had to survive. They might miss you, but what are they doing about it? Are they owning their part? Are they showing change? Or are they just sending out a signal to see if they still matter? Real love doesn't knock once after vanishing. It shows up every day with proof. You're not a what if. You're not a backup plan. You're not someone's emotional crutch after they've used you, left you, and now want you back because things got quiet. So stay with me. We're about to uncover what's really going on behind those 3 words, why they say it, what it really means, and most importantly, how to respond from power, not pain. Now, type this affirmation in the comments if you're ready to protect your peace. I don't reply to ghosts. Say it loud, say it proud, and let's dive in. Number 1, missing you. Doesn't mean they've changed. It means they feel the void. They don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves that felt powerful when you needed them. They said they miss you, and for a split second, your heart skipped. Your mind lit up like a memory reel, playing scenes of laughter, connection, the moments that felt real. But my friend, don't let that illusion grab your hand and pull you backward. Because just because they miss you doesn't mean they've changed. It doesn't mean they've evolved. It doesn't even mean they've truly reflected. Most of the time, it just means they finally noticed what your absence really costs them. Imagine this. You've been the warmth in a cold world. You gave, you forgave, you showed up. You were consistent even when they were careless. And then, silence. They pushed you away, ghosted, chose pride over presence. You spent nights wondering what you did wrong, but slowly, day by day, you pulled yourself out. And just when you begin to breathe again, ding, a message. I miss you. The trapdoor creaks open. Now here's what they don't want you to realize. They don't miss the real you. They miss the access. They miss the security blanket, the version of you that bent to keep them close. That stayed, even in chaos. That responded out of love while they moved in confusion. But that version of you, they buried it, ignored it, took it for granted, and now they say they miss it. So ask yourself this: do they miss you, or do they miss managing you? Do they miss your presence, or do they miss their power over your emotions? Do they miss the connection, or do they miss the control? That's where the fear starts creeping in for many of you, because part of you still wants to believe in their words. You think, what if they really did change? What if this is their way back? What if this is the moment we rebuild? But here's the brutal truth. If they truly changed, they wouldn't just tell you, they would have already shown you. Change isn't typed, it's proven. Real transformation doesn't show up at midnight with "I miss you." It shows up in the light with consistency, ownership, and humility. You see, the lie they're feeding you is this: that missing someone is enough. But it's not. You can miss people you mistreated. You can miss people and still not deserve them. You can miss people out of loneliness, not love. The brain plays tricks in the dark. It confuses regret with remorse, longing with loss, nostalgia with growth. But those are very different things. Seneca said, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." That includes emotional clarity. Live in truth. Stop waiting on words to validate the pain they never acknowledged when they had you. Their "I miss you" isn't a healing balm. It's a test, a ping to see if your heart still reacts. And if it does, they win. They gain the validation, and you get pulled back into the confusion you fought so hard to escape. Why is it hard? Because you're human, because you remember the good, because you crave resolution. You want the story to make sense. But healing isn't about tying up every emotional thread. It's about cutting the ones that kept you tangled. You've got to stop romanticizing a message that required zero effort to send. A text takes 3 seconds. Healing took you months. Don't undo that in one reply. Let them miss you. Let them sit in that silence. Because what they're missing is no longer you. It's the version of you they will never get again. They don't miss the healed version of you. They miss the access to the version that hadn't healed yet. And that is not love. That is loss. That's regret. That's ego. That's discomfort pretending to be depth. So if they say they miss you, ask yourself, do I miss who I was when I had them? Or do I love who I've become without them? That answer will guide everything. Write this in the comments right now. They miss the old me. I protect the new me. Let them see it. Let them feel it. Let you feel it. Because what's coming next is even more powerful. You think this message exposed the game? Wait until you hear what happens when they reach out, only when you've moved on. Stay with me. Number 2, the brain associates absence with value, but that doesn't mean it's love. Sometimes we don't miss the person, we miss the version of ourselves that loved them. Let's break something real open today, my friends, because there's a trick the brain plays on us when we're in emotional silence. It's called illusion. The longer you go without someone, the more your brain starts filling in the gaps with fantasies instead of facts. Your memory smooths out the pain and sharpens the pleasure. It turns chaos into comfort. That's not clarity. That's chemistry. Dopamine disguised as destiny. They said they miss you. And suddenly your heart pulls up a highlight reel, the laughs, the nights, the way they looked at you when it felt real. But do you notice how your mind skips over the nights they ignored you, the way they dismissed your feelings, the way you felt invisible even while they were right there. See, that's not love. That's emotional distortion. It's the brain confusing absence with value. Just because someone is gone doesn't automatically mean they were good. You're not crazy for feeling pulled. That's biology. The same part of your brain that gets triggered during a breakup is the same area that lights up in physical withdrawal. You were emotionally addicted to them. Their attention, even the breadcrumbs, became your drug. So now when they text, "I miss you," your mind doesn't just hear a sentence, it hears relief. It thinks maybe this is the closure you've been waiting for. Maybe this is your moment of redemption. But pause. Is it really closure? Or is it relapse? Think of it like this. You were starving for validation. You begged. You hoped. You stayed longer than you should have. And now that you've finally walked away, now that you've gone silent, here they come with crumbs. But you're not starving anymore. You've been healing. You've been feeding yourself peace, truth, clarity. You don't need a spoonful of sweet words to survive anymore. And yet, there's that itch, that moment of weakness where you ask, what if they really do care? What if I don't reply? And this was the last chance. But ask yourself, last chance for what? To go back into uncertainty, to reopen a wound that was finally scarring over, to trade your current peace for their possible presence. The brain loves stories, it loves patterns, and your emotional memory is trying to write a happy ending. But this isn't a fairy tale, this is your life. And the truth is, people often miss things when they become unavailable, not because they were meaningful, but because they lost the ability to access them. And for some, that's all it takes to reach out. Not love, not growth, not a lesson learned. Just the discomfort of being blocked from what used to be easy. So don't confuse their discomfort with depth. Don't confuse their silence ending with sincerity starting. What's hard is that your body remembers them too, the way your heart raced when they smiled at you, the way your skin lit up when they said your name. But feelings aren't facts. And butterflies can fly in toxic gardens too. You've got to train your mind to stop romanticizing the wound just because it was familiar. And here's the big lie, that if someone misses you, it must mean they loved you. But here's the truth, people can miss the benefit of having you while never respecting the burden they placed on you. They can miss your energy, your loyalty, your presence, without ever being willing to match it. And that's not love, that's consumption, that's comfort addiction, that's them treating you like an emotional vending machine and texting, "I miss you," just to see if you still give. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." So ask yourself, was it right the way they left you? Was it true the way they claimed they cared but never showed up when it counted? And if the answer is no, then why are you letting 3 words interrupt your growth? Don't let your mind trick you into believing that distance has rewritten history. It hasn't. It's just given you space to finally see things clearly. And if they're only reaching out now that your silence has gotten louder than their ego, that's not love. That's alert panic. So write this in the comments right now. Their absence taught me clarity. My silence protects it. Let them wonder why you didn't reply. Let them sit in the silence they created and stick around, because next we're going deep into the truth behind "I miss you" as a manipulative weapon. You're about to see how affection can be twisted into control. Stay with me. Number 3. Dark psychology. I miss you as a manipulative tool. The most dangerous apology is the one that sounds sincere, but serves no purpose but to reopen the door. They said it, those 3 words. I miss you. And on the surface, it sounds gentle, almost healing. Like maybe, just maybe, they finally realized what they lost. But let's get something brutally clear right now. I miss you can be one of the most manipulative phrases ever sent, especially when it comes from someone who once discarded you like you were replaceable. Because behind that softness, behind that warmth, lies something colder: control. Let's not romanticize what might be happening here, because dark psychology doesn't work through yelling and anger. It works through subtlety, through timing, through emotional weakness. And when they send, "I miss you," at just the right moment, maybe when you're vulnerable, late at night, thinking of them, doubting your strength, it's not a coincidence. It's strategy. Think about it. If they truly missed you in a deep, life-changing, soul-level way, don't you think their message would come with more than 3 words? Don't you think it would come with clarity, accountability, and evidence of growth? Instead, what do you get? A vague tap on the glass, a digital whisper. "I miss you." It's not a declaration of love. It's a test, a probe, a question behind the question: do I still have access to you? Imagine your heart is a house. You locked the door, you cleaned the rooms, you rebuilt the foundation, and now they show up, not with flowers, not with tools to help repair what they broke, but with a knock and a grin, hoping you'll swing the door open because they remembered how cozy it used to be. That's not love. That's manipulation disguised as memory. And here's where it gets deeper. People who thrive on emotional power know exactly what to say to pull you back. They know your soft spots. They know how to sound just broken enough to make you want to fix them. And if they're not ready to grow, they won't apologize. They'll romanticize. They won't own their past. They'll remind you of the good times. And they'll do it just enough to make you hesitate, to make you question all the progress you've made. But let me ask you something, my friend. Why now? Why do they miss you now, after you've been silent, after you've healed, after you've built some emotional distance? That's the part most people ignore. That "I miss you" didn't come while you were suffering. It came when you started shining again. It came when your energy was no longer pouring into them. That's not a sign of love. It's a response to losing their emotional grip on you. Here's the twisted part. Some people don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves that felt admired, desired, powerful when they had you wrapped around their silence. And when you go quiet, they lose their emotional supply. That's why the text shows up. Not because they care, but because their ego can't stand that you don't anymore. This is how emotional manipulation works. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's as subtle as a well-timed "I miss you." But the intent? The intent is to pull you back just far enough to feed the illusion that you still belong to them. So let's break the lie right here. Missing someone isn't the same as being ready for them. Someone can miss you and still be unworthy of you. They can miss you and still not know how to love you. They can miss you only because you've stopped serving their emotional hunger. Don't let that be enough, and don't feel guilty for pausing, for not replying, for choosing clarity over chemistry. You're not cruel for protecting your peace. You're not heartless for asking, "But what has really changed?" You're just wise. You're just awake now. Remember what Epicetus taught us. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That includes saying to yourself, "I am peace. I am clarity. I am not returning to confusion just because someone got lonely." If they really missed you in a way that meant something, they'd come with truth. They'd come with actions. They'd come ready to rebuild, not just to reminisce. So drop this in the comments if you're done falling for words without weight. I respond to action, not manipulation. Let them feel your boundaries. Let them taste your distance. Because what's coming next? We're about to break open the exact reason they always seem to text right when you're finally moving on. Stay with me. Number 4. Why they only reach out when you've moved on. They don't want you back. They just hate the fact someone else might have you now. Unknown. Let's talk about timing, because timing is never random, especially when it comes to people who once took you for granted. You'll notice something. They only seem to remember you once you've finally started to forget them. Funny how that works, isn't it? They vanish during your breakdown, but reappear during your breakthrough. They're silent when you're shattered, but loud when you're standing. Why? Because your healing threatens their control. Because your silence isn't just silence, it's power. It's proof that you no longer orbit around their existence. And when they sense that shift, when they realize their name doesn't echo in your world the way it used to, that's when the message drops in. Not because they love you, not because they've evolved, but because they can feel you slipping out of their grasp. It's not attraction, it's possession. They don't want you back because they suddenly recognize your worth. They want you back because they can't stand the idea that someone else might now see what they never did. The moment they think you've moved on, their ego gets itchy. That's when the "Hey stranger" texts appear. That's when the "I miss you" shows up out of the blue. Not as a gesture of love, but as a panic response to losing emotional relevance. Let's get real, my friends. If they truly missed you, they would have shown up when your world was quiet, when your pillow was soaked, when you waited for answers that never came. But they were silent then, and now that your smile is genuine, your eyes are clearer, your focus is internal. Suddenly they remember your number. Nah, that's not coincidence. That's calculation. That's dark psychology 101. You see, emotionally entitled people operate on this pattern. They assume you'll always be there. They assume they can come and go as they please, that your heart is on layaway, accessible whenever their loneliness spikes. And when they feel that control fading, they send a text. Not to rebuild, but to reel you back in. Not to heal, but to hook you again. And if you've ever felt that chill in your stomach when their name pops up just as you were feeling good again, it's because deep down you know what's happening. You feel it. You've seen this episode before. You know how the script goes. They come back just long enough to shake your peace, stir your heart, and remind you of a version of yourself you worked hard to outgrow. But this time, don't fall for the pattern. Because here's what you've got to remember. They didn't love the healed you. They loved the access. They loved the version of you that kept waiting, that stayed available, that kept doors cracked open. But now, you're different. You've leveled up. You've closed chapters without closure. You've found peace in silence. And that is what disturbs them. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you keep entertaining their breadcrumbs, your spirit will stay colored by their chaos. But if you stay rooted in what you've built since they left, you become untouchable. Their words can't shake you. Their timing won't tempt you. Their regret won't redefine your worth. So next time they reach out, don't rush to reply. Ask yourself, why now? Why not during the silence? Why not when I was breaking? Why only now when I've rebuilt? Because their "I miss you" may just be code for "I can't stand watching you live without me." And you owe it to yourself not to return to what nearly destroyed you just because it suddenly wants to return to you. Drop this in the comments if you're done being triggered by timing. I'm not a backup plan, I'm a closed chapter. Let it be known. Let them see you're not shaken. Let them feel what you once felt. Confusion, distance, uncertainty. Because what's coming next, we're about to expose the biggest emotional scam of all, nostalgia, and how it plays tricks on your mind to keep you tethered to people you've outgrown. Stay right here. Number 5. Nostalgia is a liar in disguise. We don't go back because it's better. We go back because it's familiar, and sometimes familiar is the enemy. Let's talk about the trap that gets even the strongest people, Not the message, not the person, but the memory, nostalgia. It's soft, it's seductive. It doesn't show up like a red flag. It shows up like a warm blanket on a cold night. And when they text, "I miss you," nostalgia rises like steam off your past. Your mind doesn't remember the pain. It remembers the feeling, the sparks, the highs, the way you felt when things were good. Even if those moments were just breadcrumbs thrown between storms, that's how nostalgia lies. It doesn't show you the full picture. It shows you the highlight reel, the movie trailer, not the full-length feature. And let's be real, if you actually rewound the tape and watched the whole thing, you'd remember the chaos, the silence, the confusion, the emotional hunger. But your brain edits it out because pain is inconvenient to the fantasy. This is exactly what they count on when they send "I miss you." They're not just hoping you miss them, they're hoping you miss how they made you feel, even if it was short-lived, even if it came with emotional cost. Nostalgia is the greatest con artist in emotional history, and when your heart is healing, it shows up dressed like hope. But let me ask you this, what are you actually missing? Are you missing them, or are you missing the version of yourself that believed in them, that loved without guarding, that gave without fear? That version of you wasn't weak, it was pure, and they mishandled it. So when nostalgia comes back knocking, whispering that maybe it wasn't so bad, remember this truth. It was bad enough for you to leave, or at least for you to start healing. That's the part nostalgia skips. That's the part you've got to keep alive. There's a reason people don't reach out when you're hurting. It's because they're not thinking about you. And when you finally rise, when your energy shifts, now they remember? No, they're not responding to your heart. They're reacting to your glow. Nostalgia is just their excuse to re-enter your life without doing the work. It's the shortcut they hope you'll take. And if you're not grounded in truth, you'll take it, because memory is powerful. Here's the psychological lie. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe they've changed. That's nostalgia's whisper, and it's the same whisper that takes healed people and walks them back into unhealed situations. The same whisper that makes you rewrite the story to make it sound like love. But let me remind you, if it was love, you wouldn't be healing from it. You don't need more memories. You need new standards. You need clarity. You need alignment. And those things don't come in a message saying, "I miss you." They come from consistent effort, from ownership, from a person willing to rebuild trust, not just revisit moments. Epictetus said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." It's not just the message that hurts, it's the meaning you assign to it. So strip away the fantasy. Ask yourself, if this message came from a stranger, would I still feel drawn to it? Or am I being pulled back by a ghost of who I used to be? Because ghosts don't love you, they haunt you. And nostalgia? It's a ghost in perfume. Don't chase closure in a memory. Don't search for peace in a past that brought you pain. They might miss you, but that doesn't mean they deserve you. And you might miss them, but that doesn't mean you belong to that version of your life anymore. Drop this in the comments if you're ready to bury the fantasy. I outgrew what I once missed. Say it loud. Show yourself. Show the version of you that fought to get here that you're not turning back. Because what's coming next? We're going into the one thing that separates those who repeat cycles from those who rewrite their lives. The reaction. Your power doesn't lie in what they say. It lies in how you respond. Stay with me. Number 6. The real test isn't their text, it's your reaction. You don't fail when they text you. You fail when you forget who you became without them. Here's the part that most people miss. The real test isn't the message. It's what you do next. It's not about them saying, "I miss you." It's about you asking, what part of me still wants to answer? That text isn't a turning point in their journey, it's a checkpoint in yours. And the way you respond, or choose not to, says everything about the level you've grown into. Let's break this down, my friend. The moment that notification lights up your screen, there's a rush. That tiny adrenaline spike, that little jolt in your chest. You weren't expecting it, but a part of you was hoping for it. Even if you've healed, even if you've let go, that one message can stir up dust in a room you already cleaned. And that's exactly what makes this moment sacred. Because now, it's not about what they want. It's about what you protect. You protect your clarity, you protect your peace. You protect the version of yourself that stopped begging for explanations and started demanding alignment. This is the test. And the test isn't about whether they've changed. It's about whether you've changed enough to not let that matter anymore. Imagine this. Your heart is like a house. For months, you've been renovating. You threw out old patterns. You replaced the broken windows of self-doubt. You painted the walls with strength, silence, and discipline. And now that the house is quiet, now that it finally feels like home again, here comes a knock. I miss you. No plans, no tools, no apology, just a knock. Will you let them back in because they missed the mess? Or will you honor the peace you worked so hard to build? That's what this is, a reaction test. Because the truth is, anyone can go silent for a while. Anyone can let time do the talking, but only the strong can let silence grow into transformation. And right now, you're standing at the edge of that transformation. This isn't just another text. This is a mirror. It's a mirror asking, did you grow? Or are you still waiting to be chosen by the person who once ignored your worth? See, they might have sent that message thinking they still have a key. But keys only work on doors that haven't been changed. And the lock on your peace? You replace that. They don't fit anymore. Their words don't land the same. Their timing doesn't shake you. Because the version of you that used to need closure or clarity or comfort, it doesn't live here anymore. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." You don't need to get even. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to reply to show them you've grown. Your silence speaks volumes. Your restraint is louder than any explanation. Your non-reaction is your protection. And yes, it's hard, because deep down, you want to say something. You want to say, you don't get to come back now. You don't get to miss me after you threw me away. You don't get to act like it wasn't your silence that taught me mine. But you don't need to say that. You just need to live it, show it, breathe it. Let your strength answer where your words don't. Because that's what emotional self-mastery is. It's choosing stillness over the need to respond. It's choosing truth over temptation. It's looking at that text and seeing it for what it really is. An echo, not a promise. A test, not a transformation. And you've studied. You've done the work. You've passed the hardest chapters already. So don't flinch now. Don't fold for comfort. Don't react just to feel wanted for 5 minutes. Because if their love was real, it would have shown up in action, not just a well-timed message. Say this out loud and drop it in the comments if you're walking in your power. My reaction is my revenge. Let them sit in your silence the same way you had to sit in theirs. And stay with me, because next we're going to break down the difference between effort and performance, and why love without accountability is just manipulation wearing perfume. Let's go deeper. Number 7. If they truly missed you, they'd do more than message you. If someone misses you, they'll move mountains, not just their thumbs. Let's cut through the fantasy, because this is the part where too many people get swept back into old storms, wearing hope like a blindfold. They get that message, I miss you, and suddenly it feels like everything they've been waiting for has finally arrived. The silence is broken. The wait is over. The words sound sweet. But let's make one thing clear right now. Missing you means nothing without movement. If they truly missed you, they wouldn't send a message. They would show up. They would explain. They would apologize. They would take accountability, not just memory trips, but instead they send a text, a sentence, a breadcrumb, something that takes 5 seconds to type but can unravel 5 months of healing if you let it. You've got to understand this. Real love doesn't hide behind vague messages. Real regret doesn't whisper. It confesses. It takes ownership. It doesn't just say, "I miss you." It says, "Here's what I did. Here's why I failed you. Here's how I've changed. And here's what I'm willing to do now." But what do most people get? A simple message that leaves you doing the emotional work, leaves you decoding, wondering, romanticizing. That's not love. That's laziness. That's emotional outsourcing. That's someone poking at your peace just to see if it still bleeds. Imagine this, my friend. You were drowning in confusion when they walked away. You begged for answers they never gave. You waited for closure that never came. You stared at your phone until your eyes stung and your heart gave up. And now that you've finally found stillness, now they reach out. Let's call it what it is. A message is the bare minimum. It doesn't cost them effort. It doesn't cost them discomfort. It doesn't require courage. Anyone can type, "I miss you." It's 3 words. But healing you, that cost you everything. That cost you sleepless nights. That cost you the version of yourself that used to believe love was enough, even when it wasn't returned. So don't confuse a message with effort. Don't mistake activity for intention. The truth is, when people truly miss you and they truly value what they lost, they don't leave it to chance. They don't wait until you're okay again. They don't hope a vague text will fix the damage they caused. They act, they pursue, they explain, they change. Because real remorse requires motion. You deserve more than recycled words. You deserve more than someone revisiting the scene of the crime with flowers and vague intentions. You deserve someone who says, "I saw what I did. I own it. I feel it. And I'll never treat you that way again." And if that's not in the message, then it's not real. It's performance. It's emotional bait. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The same goes for love. Don't debate whether they care. Let their effort or lack of it tell you. If they miss you and they do nothing but send words, they haven't earned your attention. Because your attention is expensive now. It costs more than curiosity. It costs more than timing. It costs truth, action, and consistency. So ask yourself, are they showing love or just showing up? Are they ready to repair, or are they just scared to lose access? Are they doing the work, or are they making you feel guilty for growing? Because you're not who you were. You're not desperate for connection. You're not starving for validation. You've fed yourself with discipline, with boundaries, with healing. Don't trade all of that just to feel needed for a moment, because being needed isn't the same as being valued. Drop this in the comments if you're done with emotional breadcrumbs. If they mean it, they'll move for it. Let your standards speak louder than your silence. Let your self-respect echo through your non-response. Because next up, we're going to break the final illusion. The idea that you have to prove your worth when they come back. No, you've already done that. It's time to realize you are the proof. Stay with me. Number 8. Your peace is more important than their late realization. Don't let someone's delayed clarity cost you your hard-earned peace. They said they miss you, and for a moment it might feel like justice, like maybe the silence worked, like maybe they finally see what they threw away. But don't let their late realization become your emotional downfall, because here's the truth. When someone realizes your value too late, it's not your job to make them comfortable with that loss. It's your job to protect the peace you built without them. You see, healing isn't just about moving on. It's about recognizing the cost of peace and never trading it again for emotional chaos. And peace, my friend, isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't need attention. It's soft. It's sacred. And it's fragile when you've just begun to build it. So when they come knocking again, talking about how they finally see it, how they finally miss you, how things feel different now, pause. Because your first instinct might be to feel validated, to think, finally, they get it. But here's the dark truth. Sometimes people don't miss you. They miss the access. They miss the version of you that didn't have boundaries, that didn't know how to say no, that would have dropped everything to reply in seconds. They're not always drawn to your growth. Sometimes they're just disturbed by your distance, because your distance exposes something in them that they never wanted to see, that you were their stability and they never knew how to handle that. But just because they're waking up now doesn't mean you need to open the door. Growth doesn't mean giving second chances to people who only learned your value in your absence. It means you learned your value too, and now you don't give it away just because someone finally noticed it. Let's be honest. They had their chance. They had their window. They had your patience, your vulnerability, your effort. They didn't just walk away. They watched you bleed and chose not to help. They let your messages go unanswered. They let days turn into weeks. And now that you've stopped chasing, stopped caring, stopped waiting, they remember? No. That's not divine timing. That's discomfort. That's their ego knocking on a door that used to be wide open. But you've changed the locks. You've grown past the need to be remembered by the people who forgot you when it mattered. And that is not cold, that is self-respect. Remember what Seneca said, no person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have. You don't need to want back what once wounded you. You don't need to entertain ghosts just because they suddenly want to haunt you again. You don't need to give up your peace just to make them feel better about losing you. Because here's the truth they'll never admit. Your peace was never their priority. It only became their obsession when it stopped including them. That's why they're texting now. That's why they're saying, "I miss you" now. Not because they're ready, but because they're uncomfortable watching you no longer need them. And that discomfort? That's their lesson, not your responsibility. So protect your peace. Guard it like gold, because you've cried for it, bled for it. You've sat in silence when your heart screamed for answers. You've journaled your way through the nights they forgot about you. And now that peace has a price tag. It costs accountability. It costs consistency. It costs effort. Words alone can't afford it anymore. You don't owe them a reply. You don't owe them comfort. You don't owe them access just because they realize something late. Sometimes the consequence of delay is distance, and they'll have to live with that. Drop this in the comments if you've made peace your priority. My peace is not up for negotiation. Say it, show it, and stand by it. Because silence isn't weakness, it's protection. Detachment isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And moving forward doesn't mean you hate them. It means you love yourself more than the idea of being loved by someone who made you feel invisible. So here's the truth. If they really valued you, their actions would have shown it long before the message. Your peace isn't negotiable. Your worth doesn't need proving. Protect it, guard it. And if this message hit home like this video, share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe.